Reverend Steve, keeping it simple. I'm going to be in Matthew 25. I'm going to be in verse 1. And it's the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. And what we're going to be talking about and going forward into this, and I laid the foundation yesterday, today, that 5 are not going to be prepared for what's to come, and 5 are. And this clearly shows us Jesus, when he did his teachings, he laid out what's going to happen in Matthew 24. But he also always fortified his teaching with parables. And the parables are to make it like a solid teaching. And now we have a parable here, and it's a solid teaching. And he kind of lays out how the church will be in the last days before his return. That they all know that Jesus is coming. This is what this clearly says. But they're not prepared for the full, some are not prepared for the full extent of his coming. Some are not going to be prepared for the tribulation part of his coming, which is going to be persecuted. He discusses what happens in Matthew 24, that brother will be against sister, and families will be torn apart by what is going on at that time, that tribulation that's going on. And we haven't seen that yet. Truly, if you look at Matthew 24, many of the things we see, earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars, everything. But if you notice in Matthew 24, it says after the wars or before the wars are distinctly talked about by Jesus, that persecution comes. And I think that we haven't really tasted that yet in this country. In other parts of the world, yes, we've tasted many, many persecutions of the church in Africa. All over the world, there's much, much persecution, but not in America, because we still have the baskins of being a Christian nation, but that's changing as we see today. We see that changing. So let's get into this. So we're going to be Matthew 25, verse 1. Then the kingdom of heaven. So Jesus explains right there. Then, not back then, but now, before his return. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids. So he's telling us how it's going to be. 5 are prepared and 5 are not. He's telling us that's what he's laying the foundation here. Who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. So they all knew that the bridegroom's coming. They all expect him to come. Both sides of this issue expect Jesus to come. We both believe in a rapture. Yes, I believe in a rapture too, but I believe after the tribulation of those days, as Paul lays out very clearly. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. So 5 are foolish and 5 are wise. So if you take the body of Christ or believers today, half and half are, about now believe pre-trib, post-trib. It's pretty much evenly split down the middle now. And that's what he's laying out, that there be 5 that are not prepared and 5 that will be. And tomorrow we're going to get into more of this. God bless.